Foundations of Amateur Radio. It's common knowledge that power, as in output power, makes a signal heard in more places. If you followed my adventures, you'll also know that I'm a firm believer in low power or QRP operation. It all started when I was told that my shiny new amateur license was rubbish because I was only allowed to use 10 watts. Seemingly the whole community around me shared that opinion, and slogans like "Life's too short for QRP" are still commonly heard. As a direct result of that sentiment, I decided to explore and document just how much I could actually do with my so-called introductory license, the Australian Foundation License. I've now held it for over a decade, and I'm still exploring and writing. One of my first acts of rebellion was to lower my radio output power to its minimum setting of 5 watts, and half-legal power was sufficient to prove my point. Although I'm still regularly being encouraged to upgrade, my second act of defiance is to keep my foundation license until I decide that I need more. I'll let you know if it ever happens. One more well-known so-called fact about our hobby is that if you use low power, you'll really only get anywhere on the higher bands, 2 meters, 70 centimeters and above. There's plenty of reports of amateurs using a low-power handheld radio to talk to the International Space Station, and my own satellite internet used 1 watt to get to geostationary orbit. On HF, on the other hand, 5 watts is as low as you really want to go. Making contact is a struggle and often frustrating, but when you do, bliss. About a year ago, I took delivery of a whisper beacon. It's capable of transmitting on all my accessible HF bands using 200 milliwatts. Given my antenna situation, I've configured it to transmit on the 10-meter band, 24 hours a day, thunderstorms accepted. When making the purchase decision, I had no insight into how my beacon would perform. 200 milliwatts is stretching even my love of low power, but I hooked it up and turned it on, and waited. It came as quite a surprise that my beacon was heard over 15,000 kilometers away. Not once, not a couple of times, but regularly. When I came up with my November challenge to see if I could improve on that, I made an almost throwaway comment about reducing power to see if I could still make the distance. A couple of weeks ago, I hooked up a 6 dB attenuator to my beacon, reducing the power from 200 down to 50 milliwatts. It came as quite a surprise that my signal made it to the same receiver in the Canary Islands. My kilometre per watt calculation shot up, quadrupling my previous record. Just imagine 50 milliwatts making its way over a third of the way around the globe, bouncing between the ionosphere and the planet, just like any other HF signal. At that point, I realized I had learned a few things. You don't need stupid power to make a distant contact on HF either. I started wondering just how little power was needed to get out of the shack. Yesterday, I hooked up a 10 dB attenuator, and within 10 hours, my now 20 milliwatt beacon broke my own kilometre per watt record again, and based on the signal-to-noise numbers from previous contacts, I see no reason for that record to stand for very long. Once that happens, I've got plenty more attenuators to play with, and I'm not afraid to use them. Now I'm on the hunt for an attenuator that will reduce my main radio output from 5 watts. I'm told I should aim for double the power rating, but I also have to consider how to connect my antenna coupler, which needs 10 watts to tune. But that's a project for another day. When was the last time that you used really low power? I'm Ono, Victor Kilo 6, Foxtrot Lima, Alpha Bravo.